Hello and welcome to the 20th anniversary Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown. I'm Alan Dietz, joining you from the Speed 51 studios here just outside of Charlotte. Of course, this is the 20th anniversary. As we mentioned, this event started back in 2002, but when Randy Dorton was tragically lost in 2004, it was renamed, and rightfully so, as Randy was a innovative and competitive leader, and he understood that people are the key to success in any business. Of course, he won several championships and Daytona 500s as an engine builder at Hendrick Motorsports. Today, teams will assemble 358 cubic inch Chevrolet engine, and of course, these are the fuel-injected engines that they run in the NASCAR Cup Series. The event pairs 12 Hendrick certified master technicians with 12 Hendrick Motorsports engine department team members. Of course, it's 2 rounds of competition over 2 days. It started yesterday, and of course, we'll have the championship round here today for you on Speed 51. It's my pleasure now to turn it over to Ralph Shaheen and Kim Kuhn. They'll have the call for today's competition.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you to the viewers watching on Speed51.tv. We are live on the campus of Hendrick Motorsports in Concord, North Carolina, and we are getting ready for the championship build for the 20th anniversary of the Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown presented by Valvoline. So let's get things started.
It's a sound like no other. When every second counts. What does it take to be a champion? Listen.
What a special day it is. Hi, everybody. Ralph Shaheen, Kim Kuhn with you as we are here on Championship Build Day, the 20th anniversary of the Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown, brought to you by our friends at Valvoline. We have seen some incredible competition, and now, Kim, we are ready for the final build.
Absolutely. We saw 4 qualifying builds yesterday and then 2 this morning. And man, oh man, Ralph, it got down to the wire as we look at the leaderboard. Just by seconds, we have our top 2 teams, but they had to break down the engines, and we have to see if any penalties were assessed, if they had clean builds, and who will actually be competing in our championship round.
Well, there's a look at the leaderboard as it stands, not knowing if we have a penalty or not, so let's find out right away. Let's head over to the Valvoline Engine Shop. Okay, Roger, penalties or no?
All right. Well, we're here in the Valvoline Engine Shop with Brian Trocham, our National Account Manager with Valvoline, and let's talk a little bit about the partnership. Brian, you know, you guys are so supportive of Hendrick Motorsports and Hendrick Automotive Group and this event. You guys are the primary sponsor for this event, and we're just so grateful. So can you talk to us a little bit on your side about the partnership?
For us at Valvoline, it is a tremendous partnership. I mean, it's almost like a family, to say the least, between the automotive group and between motorsports. The interaction that we get is second to none. We absolutely love it, and the benefits that we get out of it and the benefits that you get out of it to winning championships, you can't beat that.
You can't. Can you tell us a little bit about the engine that we're going to see built today? We've got this championship build coming up. There's a lot of suspense. We don't even know who's in it yet for second place. But tell us a little bit what to expect. What kind of engine are we dealing with here?
This is an actual Chevrolet R07 NASCAR engine. Now, granted, this one has a little bit less horsepower than what you're going to see on the racetrack. This has about 400 to 450 horsepower. But again, this is based on what actually goes into the race car. There are some, again, other modifications to make sure that there's no damage done to the engine. As fast as these guys are putting this thing together, there's 243 fasteners, and they all got to go in the right spot, and they all have to be tight. Otherwise, we end up with penalties. And Roger, we know what happens with penalties.
We need clean builds. We don't want any penalties. We don't want any loss of time for that, for sure. But I tell you what, these guys are here to win, and it's going to be super exciting. We've got a championship build, guys. So Ralph and Kim, we'll turn it back to you to make that announcement.
Yeah, we're ready to get going here, Roger. We had, as you mentioned, 6 qualifying builds. I think what's really exciting about the qualifying builds is that our top 2 finalists, one came out of the first build, which was yesterday morning about 9 a.m. when we got started, and the second place qualifiers came out of our last build, which was just about an hour and a half ago.
That's right. And so John Boydston and his teammate Dave Fry, they went, like you said, in that first qualifying build all the way yesterday morning. So they had to sit through build after build after build, just on the edge of their seats. Where will their time hold for the championship build?
And now we are ready to go with this championship build. But to give you an idea of what you're about to see, let's take you back 1 year ago to the 2020 championship build.
Ready, set.
This is truly a head-to-head battle.
That's right. Up until now, it has basically been a race against the clock to be quick enough to be one of the top 2. Now, it's you against the other team. And the thing about it is, how do you do that? Do you just go for outright speed? But you also have to balance that without making mistakes. There's the first engine flip. There it is.
Got you sub 9.
Yep.
Inside of 9. Wow. Well, if you want to know how to work a speed handle, the guy to talk to is Scott Vester. He has got it down, doesn't he? No, they shut it off, which means it wasn't a full 60 seconds. Oh, big balls are playing there. 22:58. Hoisting those championship trophies high and a 22:58, which we haven't seen a time quite that quick so far this year.
Not yet. And you saw the drama in last year's championship build. We expect nothing less here today. And the thing about it is, as we go through the qualifying builds, they're racing the clock. When we get to the championship build, they are essentially going head-to-head for the rights to call themselves champions.
And let's take a look at that leaderboard. There you see the difference in our 2 quickest times, just 4 seconds, Kim.
Man, oh man. So we are going to announce the championship builders because, again, we had to break down the engines from that final qualifying build. Danny Emmerich and Shane Flake, as their time stands 24:49. Did it hold for them to make it to the championship build? Yes, it did. There were no penalties assessed, so they will be competing against John Boydston and Dave Fry for champions.
And we've got 2 previous champions in that group. Both Danny, a multi-time champion, and of course John has won championships as well. And then speaking of champions, just down the aisle there, now the newly crowned NASCAR Cup Series champion. Congratulations, Kyle Larson is here.
That's right, and we will be chatting. Jason will catch up with him later.
And then just to his right, one more seat over, the multi-time NHRA Pro Stock champion who runs the HendrickCars.com on his machine, the current points leader in NHRA Pro Stock, looking to claim another championship this weekend out in Pomona. Please welcome Greg Anderson. And, of course, we got a multi-time NASCAR Cup Series team owner in the building. Mr. Hendrick is here with us, and there's some multi-time Cup driving champion named Jeff Gordon running around here somewhere. There he is. He's back there. We got Wally's in the room. We got Cup Series champion trophies. We got all kinds of champions here today.
That's right. So no pressure, right, to these builders? No eyes on them here this afternoon. Speaking of eyes on things, there are a lot of rules to keep track of in terms of how we determine what a clean build is. So let's take a look.
As is the case with any competition, the ultimate goal is to be deemed the winner. In order to have a winner, you need to keep score, or in this case, keep track of time. You also need a judge and someone to assess the rules. Jim Bliss is one of our judges. Jim, talk about the competition. How do we determine just who gets to go to the finals to begin with, and how we determine an overall winner?
Well, we start out with 12 two-man teams, and when we do the first few rounds, it's against the clock. It's not a head-to-head competition. It doesn't go head-to-head until we get to the finals, and then the two fastest teams go head-to-head, winner take all.
Now, we talked about the rules.
Right.
Speed is essential, but speed can also mean mistakes. What does mistakes equate to when it comes to penalties?
Time penalties. It goes against your overall time. There's a 2-minute penalty for anything that is not torqued, meaning a main cap, rod cap, cylinder head bolts, and valve train components. Anything else has to be at least finger tight. If not, it's a 30-second penalty for every loose fastener.
Would there be any reason why the build would have to be halted by you, the judge?
Safety concerns. Somebody gets injured, something like that. We see an unsafe situation, we'll stop it. It's safety first and then put on a good show.
Well, Jim, thanks for joining us. It's an exciting competition, and good luck with the assessments. Hopefully we have clean builds all the way through.
And we want to make a quick point because we announced that Danny and Shane's time held. What you may not have realized is if they had received one of those penalties that you just saw in that video, just one, a 30-second penalty, it would have knocked them out of the championship build. That's how close the times are.
You know, before we go any further, I got to say one other person we need to welcome here real quick, too. Behind every great man, they say, is an even greater woman. And we want to welcome Mrs. Hendrick here as well. Thank you for joining us here today. Great to have her with us in the audience as well as we get going. You know, we are celebrating a Champions Day here today. But when it comes to champions, Kim, I think everybody in this room would agree, there are no greater champions in this country than our veterans. And it is Veterans Day. We'd like to take this moment to thank all of you who are serving and who have served for our country.
We wouldn't be here today without the sacrifice and bravery of our veterans.
Thank you, veterans. We will always be grateful for what you do.
Thank you. Your courage will never be forgotten.
Okay, shall we meet our combatants getting ready to go here in this championship battle? Let's meet the first team. They're standing by with Jimmy Thompson.
Thanks, Ralph. Fastest qualifiers. Congratulations, John Boydston, Dave Fry. You said you have to be sub 24 in this build to take home the big trophy. We know 30 seconds can be taken off by avoiding a penalty. Where do you find the other 30 that you need?
I don't know. That's hopefully it just shows up. You know, hopefully if we clean a little bit up, I'm hoping it's there, and then maybe a little, kick in this overdrive here.
Dave, you had the advantage to go, I guess, first out of the gate, had the cleanest equipment. There wasn't all the Valvoline oil on it. Now we've seen 6 engine builds. It's going to be a little bit slicker. Is that a disadvantage, having to now deal with a different environment and also being maybe a little bit tired and rusty if we built first yesterday?
Well, I would say we definitely didn't have the cleanest equipment based on what I saw, but I think having the time from yesterday morning till now is an advantage right now. You know, we built yesterday. Danny's team, they built, not long ago. So, I think the rest will be good. Other than that, it's just the confidence to do what we know how to do and get it done.
Well, gentlemen, good luck. John Boydston was your champion in 2019. Dave's hoping they are champions here in 2021.
And Jimmy is part of our infield team, also covering the build floor, Jason Seahorn. He's standing alongside build team number 2 for the championship.
Yeah, Danny and Shane. So let's talk about one first thing real quick. We can't dissect this any other way. So based on your last build, are you changing anything?
Very little.
Very little. Man, a few words. And then second question is, you're no longer racing against the clock, right? So you have to kind of know what the other team's doing. And certain sounds of the engine make certain, kind of ideas of where they are. So oil pan, torque wrench. Are you aware of everything that's going on over there?
It's really, it's hard to explain. You're in such a zone. You hear everything. You hear everything except anything out here to do with that. So like the feeling of that 100% focus is, I think we crave that. It's a lot of fun. It's hard to get, so you got to treasure it.
Well, here's hoping they treasure some focus for the championship build.
They're going to need it. Going to need it. Things are really starting to get intense now as we get ready to go. So we have picked our teams. We have picked who's made it to the final round. Now we're going to decide who's going to work on which engine. To do that is with a coin toss. So we head back to the build area, and here's Kevin Weber.
So we're going to have a coin toss to determine which engine these guys will build on this afternoon. I'm going to have Dave Carter. I knew he was going to do that. And it is tails, so you get to choose which engine you'd like to build on. David and John will build on engine 2. Danny and Shane will be on engine 1. Kim and Ralph, back to you.
Thanks, Kevin. Now let's swing back over to the Valvoline Engine Shop and catch up with Roger and Brian.
Thank you, Kim and Ralph. So here we are. We're gearing up for the championship build, Brian, and I think maybe we should talk about strategy. So when these guys hear the bell, they hear the horn, what's the first step they're going to take?
First step is always to put the crankshaft in. It's the easiest. That's the backbone of the engine, and that's where they start with. It's really ironic because the bottom side of this engine goes together pretty quick and pretty simple. It's as they start moving up towards the valve train and the top of this, that's where all these tiny little nuts and bolts become a real big problem. And as we've heard from a couple of the competitors, this Valvoline engine oil is supposed to be in the engine, not on the tools, making things very slick and making things very difficult, Roger.
Yeah, they've proven that it definitely reduces friction for sure. So those fasteners, as you watch them put the crankshaft in, the rod bearings in, those are the ones that they were talking about. They must be torqued to spec. And if they're not, they are a hefty 2-minute penalty. So cannot afford to have that happen, right?
50 foot-pounds with the torque wrench. You'll see him actually run those nuts down really fast along the main bearings. And then from there, you'll start hearing the pistons go in. And that's where that choreography comes into place of, can you be putting in pistons while you're torquing down those mains? That's kind of each competitor seems to have a little different philosophy on how to do that and what that looks like. That's what makes this so interesting and so much fun to watch. The competition of it and the guys in the focus, like Danny said, just getting in that zone and going with it.
For sure. Every step with a purpose, right?
Yes.
Okay. Back to you, Kim and Ralph.
Well, right now, Roger, we're in the midst of our 5 minutes of uninterrupted time where our competitors are checking out their engine build area, talking last-minute bits of strategy. So while we do that, we're going to hear from a man who knows a lot about winning championships. He's standing by with Jason.
He does, and as we look up here, there are 13, I believe, and you get to add a 14th. Do you ever reflect on this after a weekend like that?
Well, it's you have to win them every year when you get into the fight. It's been an amazing battle, Kyle. Congratulations, buddy. And a great year, and can't believe we won 14 of these deals.
I mean, the banners speak for themselves. The other thing is we talk about the technicians. You've got your automotive guys and your racing guys, bring them together. As a organization, what does that mean for everybody involved?
Well, when you look at the dealerships, you survive during the lean times with the parts and service department. So these technicians here are the very best we have in the company. So I want to tell them how appreciate it, guys. Everything you do, you're the best. And then when I look at the engine builders that are here from Motorsports, they've won 479 races, and an unbelievable stat for these guys. So, we're very fortunate to have the best of both worlds here, working together and competing. So,
you're running out of wall space, by the way.
We can build more. We'll build more.
Last thing, you and your wife have done a great job of keeping Randy Dorton's memory alive with this. What does that mean to you and to a lot of the guys who never got to meet him?
Well, everybody that ever met Randy knows what kind of special person he was. And his legacy engine shop has a huge picture of him, and so many of the folks in motorsports owe Randy Dorton for giving him a break. So keeping him alive 20 years after the first build, it's been really special to these guys and to me. And Randy was a pillar in our company, and he'll always be remembered.
Well, it definitely shows in the fact there's 14 championships.
Thanks, Jason. Well, this event would not be possible without the proud support of our partners, so let's get a word from them.
The original motor oil is better than ever. Introducing new Valvoline Full Synthetic Extended Protection. The ultimate protection, designed to extend the life of your engine with up to 50% better wear protection. It's proven to maximize engine life, defending against all 4 major causes of breakdown: wear, heat, friction, and deposits. Our best performing oil ever.
At Napa, we keep things moving. If it has wheels and an engine, we help keep it on the road. And if it's on the road, we have parts for it. And if you need a part, you can get it fast. At Napa, when we're not thinking about cars, we're thinking about the people who drive them. Because when it comes to serving you and our community, our motor never quits.
Hendrick. Being on Mr. Hendrick's team is pretty great, and I'd love for you to join us.
Team Hendrick knows talent, and we're hiring. Hendrick Automotive Group is hiring 300 new technicians across the country and will pay you while they train you.
Apply now at HendrickCars.com to bring your technician skills to our dealerships.
If you're as passionate about cars and winning as I am, you should work for Team Hendrick too.
Now's your chance. Apply today at HendrickCars.com. Like right now. You gotta be fast if you want to work for Hendrick.
It's Hendrick Automotive Group teamed with Hendrick Motorsports. That's a powerful combination. Welcome back to the show.
And we are back and getting closer. We can really feel the intensity starting to build.
I'm feeling the intensity. I'm
Right?
nervous for these guys on the build floor.
Got your speed handle ready
I
to go?
cannot quite make it work like some of the guys that we've seen.
Well, let's go watch the best in the business. Here we go. The 20th anniversary of the Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown, presented by Valvoline, is about set to begin. So we head back to the build floor. Mr. Hendrick, please kick us off.
Builders, ready, set.
Okay, crankshaft first. That's piece number 1. And then, Jimmy, from there, it starts to get to be a little bit more free-flowing as to what your strategy might be. Not every team the same.
We're already seeing differing strategies between these two teams. We saw that Danny Emmerich was actually putting the main crank in, but over in lane 2, it was the Hendrick Automotive Group representative Dave Fry putting in the main crank on that side. Speaking of lane choices, very interesting. In the qualifying rounds, lane 2 was where both Danny Emmerich's team as well as John Boydston's team participated. So it was interesting when Boydston and his partner Dave Fry won the coin toss that they elected to go to their familiar lane of lane 2, and we'll see if the unfamiliarity of lane 1 has any impact on Danny Emmerich over in lane number 1.
But to remind you, these are identical engines, maybe just a little more pressure versus a little less pressure depending on which build floor you're at. And we once again want to welcome those of you tuning in at speed51.com, the Speed51 Facebook page, and at Speed51's Twitter handle. Like we have shown you, we have just kicked off the championship build of the 20th anniversary of the Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown, presented by Valvoline.
Now, one thing to keep an eye on for those of you that are maybe seeing the first time ever a build here in this competition, about the 9-minute mark, plus or minus, either way, is where we get to what we consider the halfway point. That's when the engine gets flipped over. Roger, right now we are working on the bottom side of the engine. They're going to do what they have to do there to complete that part of the build. At that roughly 9-minute mark, then we turn that engine over and we go to work on the top, correct?
Yes, we do. And you may have noticed there was an orange hammer that came out. And those guys were knocking the main bearing caps on. Brian, why would they do something like that?
Those main bearing caps, when they go on the engine, they're kind of a tight fit. So what they do is they use that hammer to pound them down so that, as you can see, when they're putting those nuts on those main caps, they can use a speed handle, or there's a multitude of different techniques they use to try to get those nuts down as much as they can before they have to start using that torque wrench, Roger.
So basically they're seating those bearing caps with the hammer, Then they come back behind and put the washers and nuts on. And the name of the game that we heard and learned in the demo build was run those nuts down any way you can except for the torque wrench. As you can see, you can use rags, you can use a speed handle, just your fingers, whatever. But if you wait till you put that torque wrench on there, it is a slow process. And the name of the game here to win this competition is speed.
And also, for those of you who may be just joining us and missed out on the qualifying builds, our build teams are made up of a pair, one representative from the Hendrick Motorsports Engine Shop and one from the Hendrick Automotive Group. Now, the best way to identify each, we have them in some very spiffy uniforms provided by UniFirst. Our Hendrick Motorsports teammates are in the red accented uniforms, and our Hendrick Automotive Group builders are in the blue. Again, each team made up of one from each group, and that's what we love about this competition, collaboration between the two. Right now you're seeing a live shot of Danny Emmerich and his teammate Shane Flake. Danny, a 4-time winner in the Engine Builder Showdown, looking to make it 5 here this year. And of course, John Boydston on the other team, also a former winner in this competition, won in 2019. So some heavy hitters we're watching make their way through this engine build.
Roger, if you're looking right now, you're catching a glimpse of Danny Emmerich in the black and the red shirt. If you see on his left hand, he's written some notes on there. He's put numbers on there. And that's the order he's planning to go to work on those pistons and those cylinders. He's got an order there that he thinks will make a difference in saving him some time. But he said he had to write it there to look down on it to remember which order he needs to go.
Well, listen, Danny is an expert at researching what's the fastest way to put this thing together. He's done everything from diagram things out to watching videos and practicing builds left and right. And, you know, he's not the only one. All these guys have done some degree of that, but I think he's the only one that actually wrote it out on his arm. I think it's brilliant.
Like Ralph mentioned, when we kicked off this championship build, typically we mark the halfway point when the oil pan is put on. That precedes what we will see as an engine flip. Again, that's about the halfway mark. Lots of teams you talk to say, we want to kind of hit that in the 9-minute mark range. So right now, clock at 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So figure we're about halfway to that oil pan being applied in that engine flip.
Got it.
Kim and Ralph, let's not forget either, the first time that these pairings met each other was actually Tuesday evening. They got paired up in a random draw to come here and participate. So this is the first time that these individuals are actually working together. Now, granted, on this championship build, they've done this once before, but that's impressive.
Absolutely is. And Roger and Brian, I'd love for you guys to talk a little bit more about the engine we're seeing on the build floor, because the representatives we have from the Hendrick Automotive Group, those Hendrick Master Certified Technicians, yes, they work on engines, they work on cars, but typically not this type of engine.
Keep up the good work.
That is correct. In fact, most engine work that's done in an automotive dealership at this point would be exchanging out a short block, which has some assembly to it already. But in addition to that, the valve train system is quite different on most of the production engines today, right, Brian?
Correct. Most of the vehicles out there today, the modern engine is actually an overhead cam, versus this camshaft is located in the middle of the block. That's why as they flip these engines over, you're going to see lifters, push rods, rocker arms, all the parts that go in as part of that valve train. That's why these motors are also known sometimes as pushrod engines, because of the actual push rods on the engine themselves. So it's a lot different than what they're used to working on a day-to-day basis in their shops, Roger.
Yes, it is. And the other thing, the tools. So normally in an automotive shop, you would use pneumatic tools or battery-operated tools, some automation. Here, You can't use any of that. It's either got to be a speed handle or a pull bar or a torque wrench. It's all manual.
This thing is your friend in this competition right here.
Yes. So quite the different approach to their daily routines at the dealership.
Yeah, that's that speed handle. And, of course, a lot of times now in your modern-day dealership, you're going to use a computer a lot to diagnose what the situation is and maybe make an adjustment. Well, let's meet the man who is the newly crowned NASCAR Cup Series champion. He is standing by with Jason.
Yes, he is. So 10 weeks ago we spoke, and you were just excited to make the chase, right? Well, we called them the playoffs. You corrected me then. So 10 weeks later, you're now the champion. You said something very interesting at the end where you credited the team. And we see all these guys who put engines together. Talk about that pit stop and what made it the difference.
Gosh, I think I was super proud of the pit crew there because we all knew coming down pit road that was the final stop of the year. And, I mean, that's a lot of pressure in itself. And they were able to lay down their second fastest stop of the year. So to get us from fourth to first and ultimately win us a championship. So was extremely proud of them. And like you said, this is a huge team effort to win the championship. And I'm proud to be here watching these guys build some engines quickly.
Unfortunately, they don't have to build them this quickly. Kevin Weber told us they usually spend about 30 hours. So as you come in this room and you see these banners and the names that are on there, has it hit you yet that you'll have one over there at the side?
No, it's definitely cool getting to come here and sit down. And when you mentioned the banners, I took a glance up there and I see Chase's 2020, and I'll be sitting next to him. So really neat. I'm just super thankful to be a part of this Hendrick Motorsports team and glad to be a part of everything that we got going on here today.
And that's the last thing I want to talk about, just like the entertainment of, I wouldn't call it entertainment, but the watching of racing last year. Did you learn something watching instead of actually being there every single Sunday?
I'm sure there's definitely something I learned from watching the Cup races, because I think typically I get into where I just watch myself, but I got to watch other people and what they do, and I also got to race a lot more last year, and I think that and win a lot, and I think that experience of running up front and contending for wins really helped for this season, and also continuing to do that this year really helped things.
Cool. Well, you're at Hendrick. They don't rest on their laurels. Good luck next year.
Jason, we had our first engine flip at about 9:30, and we're awful close to getting the other one right here. Danny and his partner, the first to flip it over, Shane Flake right there with him. Now they'll go to work on the top side of the engine. There's the next engine flip, just about 20 seconds behind.
The last time we checked the gap between the two teams, very, very close, but this is where it can get a little bit different. The strategies and approach to putting the top side of the engine can vary team to team, and I know, Jimmy, you've been keeping track of all of that and what the teams are able to do on the second half of the build.
You can hear Danny talking to his partner, Shane, reminding him to breathe deep, stay focused. Well, another guy's got to stay focused, hopefully for a few rounds come Sunday out in Pomona, California. If he can go rounds, he'll be champion once again. Greg Anderson, standing by with Jimmy.
Thanks, Ralph. Yeah, we're surrounded by HendrickCars.com drivers today, which we're very fortunate with. Greg, 98 career national event wins with NHRA, all-time record. What's going to take to pick up that victory in Pomona this weekend?
I think I'm going to have to act like I'm going for my very first. That's how it's got to be. I'm going to have to channel my inner youth. And that's certainly been a while since my first. I think it was 20 years ago, back in 2001 when I got that first. But you never forget your first. And if I can channel that memory, hopefully that'll propel me.
You just recently started working with HendrickCars.com this year. How exciting has it been to be part of this team?
Well, it's exciting as could be. It's an honor. It's an absolute honor just to wear the colors, just to fly the colors and being associated with this great race team. And, watching Kyle all year long just completely dominate the competition has been a real drive for me. It's been a complete boost to me, and obviously me getting to watch him last weekend. Usually we finish a week before NASCAR, and for some crazy reason this year we're a week after them. So I got to watch him close the deal, and man, it was like a shot in the arm. It was like a shot of adrenaline in the arm, and I think it's the shot I needed to go close the deal this weekend. So we'll see, but I feel great and just proud to be a part of it.
Speaking of adrenaline and a shot in the arm, how about this competition? This is your first engine build. What do you think the excitement so far?
It's incredible. I guarantee there's a lot of Top Fuel and Funny Car team owners right now that would give their left arm to have some of these guys working on their race cars right now. They they've got 55 minutes in between rounds to tear them completely apart and back together about what these guys are doing with these engines here. So they would fit perfectly on one of those race teams. So when I tell these guys this weekend about what I witnessed this week, you're probably going to have some guys knocking on the door next year.
Well, Greg, best of luck. Thanks for joining us. Ralph, he has to fly to Pomona after this. He said when he lands, he has to tear apart his engine. And I said, do you want to borrow some of these guys? So they might be jumping on a flight with him.
I'm sure. Well, we know Mr. H will do whatever it takes to get another win, so maybe. Hey, Roger, we noticed the Valvoline oil going in out of that easy pour bottle within a half a second on both sides. We are really close. I think this is the tightest gap we've seen all week.
Oh, this is a true head-to-head competition. They're very, very close to each other. And the Valvoline oil that you're seeing being put in is not a traditional way to fill an engine. Usually you would go through the oil filler cap location. But in this case, speed is everything, right? So before they put this valley pan on, they dump the whole bottle right on top and it goes to the bottom. Brian, tell us a little bit about what kind of oil is this?
The oil that we're using for this competition is a 1030 full synthetic Valvoline oil. With these engines, when they get run, they have to run for a minute once they are completely built. So during that 1 minute, there's no coolant, there's nothing else in the engine. So we have to rely on that engine oil to keep the engines cool, make sure that they have the least amount of friction so that they don't have any heat issues or any problems along those lines, Roger.
Well, I tell you, it's been proven time and time again. It does a great job at it, so we appreciate it.
We've had a lot of competitors actually say it's done maybe too good of a job as it relates to all this stuff that gets on their hands. We have to remember that the engine oil goes in the engine.
And today's broadcast is presented by Valvoline, the official lubricants partner of Hendrick Automotive Group and Hendrick Motorsports. You can visit Valvoline.com to see how their drive to innovate makes an impact in every product they develop. So a big thank you to Valvoline. And it's always nice to have the Valvoline engine shop here at the Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown.
Listening to them talking a little bit here.
Do you so solemnly swear I will not screw up on push-ups?
What's your sign? What is this
for? You're supposed to be looking at it.
So we are almost to the 15-minute mark. Again, time not necessarily a factor here. The teams in the championship build do go head-to-head, but I know it's always nice for them to try and get a competitive time just for bragging rights.
Hit your feet, and then the torque wrench is right next to you. You got to get all them push rods in before you...
You can hear John and Dave communicating.
Got him good?
No. Lifter, give him a lifter.
We heard earlier Dave talking about making sure that they get those push rods in. That can be a 30-second penalty if they don't get those in, and the engine won't run properly either. So there's a lot of discussion right now around those push rods going into the lifters and the rocker arm cups. That's one of the more difficult aspects of putting this engine together.
You'll also hear some of our officials observing and making comments as well.
And while we do talk about them going head-to-head, and it's the first team to finish, that does need to be a clean build, or at least the build with the least amount of penalties, because just like our qualifying build rounds, we will break these engines down, and if there are penalties, that penalty time will be added to the total time, and that will ultimately determine our championship builders.
Can't feel my forearms.
Can't feel his forearms. Jason, it's interesting you would hear that too, because I was talking to Danny in between, and he commented on how his right hand was cramping up on him at the end of that last qualifying build, and he took advantage of what you were saying and went and iced heavily in between and ate a banana, did everything he could to try to help get that back to where he needs it to be, but don't know where he's going to be if he's going to be able to endure this, because it's mentally and physically a grind.
It's called lactic acid, and it builds up whenever you use a muscle too much. The icing definitely helps. I don't know if a banana's going to get there quick enough, though.
Lactic acid everywhere. It's like these.
You just heard John Boynston say lactic acid everywhere as he worked that speed handle. John in the red uniform right there, and his partner Dave in the blue accented uniform, and a thank you to UniFirst for providing our teams with uniforms they're competing in. You can log on to unifirst.com to customize your work uniform program today.
Well, it's funny as we talk about this, there's no way to train for this. Like, they don't sit there with a speed wrench, for 15 minutes a day working on being, quick for this.
And again, we want to thank our viewers who are tuned in at speed51.com, the Speed51 Facebook page, and at Speed51's Twitter handle. An exciting new look is coming this week as Speed51.tv is launching its new 24-hour digital racing experience at racingamerica.com. Stay tuned for an expanded digital racing experience built for all racing fans.
We're at the 18-minute mark. Remember, last year was at 22.5.
We could see a fast
we could be
record-breaking
close.
time here.
We
today.
could be close. And, of course, that engine has to run for 60 seconds. And then once they do the teardown, there has to be no penalties. And you can see Danny has shifted the way he's using the speed wrench. I'm going to guess that maybe things are getting a little tight with that right hand, because he's not spinning it the way he normally would.
Ralph and Kim, at the beginning part of the build, we saw pretty consistent strategies amongst the two teams. Now that the engine's flipped, we're starting to see a little bit of deviation between the two lanes. Both headers are going on in lane number 1. In lane number 2, they have not put on the second set of header. Instead, they're going to the intake manifold now. Typically, what we've seen with these builds, once that manifold process starts, we have an expectation of somewhere between 3 and 4 minutes for us to see an engine fire. That's usually the ballpark figure we've seen throughout this, but there's still a lot of components that have to go in.
Well, we're at 19 minutes and 15 seconds, Jimmy.
And we want to remind you, HendrickCars.com is a one-stop location to find your next new or pre-owned vehicle, or plan your next visit to one of our 93 dealership locations throughout the country. Sure, many of you were familiar with that logo as we saw it all year long on Kyle Larson's car.
Tell me where it is. This time, give it my head. No, I mean my valve cover. I already got the head. Valve cover.
Just shy of the 20-minute mark.
I got the header. Keep up what you're doing.
Danny taking a quick look over the competition to see where they're at, assessing where the other team is in the process. Yeah, got some lifelines going on now, too. You got to have those lifelines plugged in, Roger. That's a key component to getting this engine to fire.
That is absolutely correct. You've got to have the fuel line hooked up, the oil pressure line hooked up, and also the ignition in place. And power, their battery power. We've got an intake that we'd like to show you here in the engine room. We've got 2 intakes on now. It really makes it look like the engine is coming together, which it is. Brian, what does it take to get this thing on properly?
So this is the actual intake manifold, and there's a bunch of parts and pieces that are actually make this up. But they set it down on top of this engine, and you'd think it just like slides on there really nice and easy. But the problem is, it slides really nice and easy.
Sideways as well.
You got to make sure that you get this thing on proper. You got to make sure you get the lifelines plugged in. There's some bolts down here that have to go in prior to coil packs going on. So again, it's very precise on how all this stuff has to go back on here. Otherwise, it doesn't fire, or you get a penalty.
Just because you see it sitting here doesn't mean it's ready to function, right? You got a lot. There's a lot to be done.
There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done.
Boy, this is going to be close. We're at 21-25 right now, and both teams are getting very close. And then that engine's got to run for 60 seconds, and then no penalties. Coil packs going in. Both sides. Don't think we're going to beat the 22.55 from a year ago, because you'd have to fire your engine by now.
Certainly a faster speed than we saw during each of the teams' qualifying rounds.
Oh, it's going to be the fastest build of the week by far.
Where's the valve cover? Right over there. Right by here.
Here we go.
to a 23:35.
Now here's the thing to remember. We had simultaneous engine fires. John and his partner Dave obviously being first to fire and then had a total time of 23:09, and then Danny and his partner Shane with a time of 23:35. The difference less than 30 seconds. And the thing is, we still have to tear down these engines.
That's
just
right.
that there's penalties. And we saw an interesting reaction from John and his partner as their engines were fired.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah.
Well, we got to see if there's any penalties in there or not. That could make a huge difference, as you said. About 30 seconds, the difference in when the engine's fired. So if there's a 30-second penalty or more, things could shift completely. Wow.
Wow. And keep in mind, we had a clean build from Danny and Shane in their qualifying round. John and his partner Dave, though, during their qualifying round did have a 30-second penalty. So, you know, maybe this is a point where they're second-guessing this championship build. Did we make the same mistake we made during our qualifying build? Because, again, a 30-second penalty would all it would take to bump John and his partner Dave from that championship winning time.
Everybody's talking about it. All right, let's go to Jimmy Thompson.
So Hendrick Motorsports had a whole debrief here with the two competitors. John came over to congratulate you on a great build. Definitely reiterate those thoughts. Congratulations, fantastic build. Sub 24 is what you got to. Right now, you're sort of hoping that they might have something loose and you kind of sneak ahead on the victory. How confident are you in your build?
Super confident. Super confident. Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough for Shane. I mean, I threw the weight of the world on his shoulders at 24 hours, and, man, he over-delivered. So this is a great way to tribute Randy Dorton for this 20th anniversary and his 20th anniversary in the Hendrick organization as a tech. Man, I can't say enough.
Shane, congratulations. How special is this event? I mean, being a part of Hendrick has to be certainly special on its own, but to be a part of this event for the 20th anniversary edition and to be a part of the championship build, how great is that?
Oh, this is awesome. I mean, it's not what you do every day for sure.
When you hear the other engine fire, how hard is it to communicate and continue your build?
I try to ignore it and just do what we got to do.
Is part of the strategy when you hear them fire just to fire as quickly as possible within that 30 seconds in case there is a mistake?
Yes, that for sure. We heard him fire up. I think we were within 30 seconds, and it's we don't even look at the clock really at that point. Yeah.
Well, Shane, Danny, congratulations, fantastic build, and we will see what happens in teardown.
Well, we promised our viewers drama. I think we delivered on that. We still have to wait, tear down those engines to determine who ultimately is the championship team. Let's check in now with Jason. They're alongside the other competitors in this championship round.
I don't think I've ever seen so much chaos in a completed build. So let's go with the beginning. Awesome. Let's go with the beginning. So you're pushing the piston rods through. What exploded on the floor?
That was the rod cap.
And then the bolts are flying everywhere?
Yeah, there's 4 pieces you got to find. Luckily, they cut each other, so I got lucky on that one.
And let's go to the end. So you're putting the header on, and then you realize you're missing 4 bolts for that.
Yeah, I didn't know where one was. I knew we had a couple out, but I wanted to make sure we got the thing started and the airbox on. So I just started up and said go, and the next thing you know, I'm like, man, I don't have a bolt. So that would have been what Danny needed. He started just in time to basically cover if I screwed up, which.
So Dave, you're sitting over there scrambling as well because you're handing him bolts at the last second.
Yeah, well, I dropped the one, and I saw right where it had landed. So he was getting the other 3, didn't realize the other one was on the ground. I saw it, grabbed it, and he threw it in just in the nick of time. So we've done all we can at this point.
Last thing, what's this mean going back to the shop for you? I mean, these guys obviously do this all the time, but for you to go back to the shop, what's that like?
I mean, I don't know that there's words that can really describe that. I mean, it's such a privilege to be here in the first place that, you know, the guys in the shop, especially the younger guys, look up to you just for qualifying to get here. So if we were able to close this thing out clean and bring home the trophy, man, then, I mean, yeah.
Well, let's hope it's closed out clean. It's not like, you know, building one of your kids' bikes and there's some missing parts someplace. Best to you.
Wow, it is really exciting. Anxious to see. The guys have already started on the teardown. We'll know soon enough as to whether or not there are any penalties. And the winner is going to get some very special prizes. Second place gets some really good stuff, too. And it's all because of our friend Steve Knoitzen and our friends at Napa. You guys have over-delivered when it comes to the prize packages.
Well, I think we over-deliver because these guys deserve it. Second place, we got some nice carts over there, loaded with tools for these guys to go home and maybe work on the wife's or the lawnmower stuff. And then for our first place, folks, we have some toolboxes here, also loaded with some tools, courtesy of our...
Thanks for putting my initials on there, too, by the way. That was awful nice of you.
That was planned.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So for our first place, guys, loaded with tools, upper and lower toolbox.
Oh, we were looking.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. We were...
I heard you guys were going to try to take some of those, you know? There's some good tools.
And I got to say, all the guys have been over here looking, too, checking it out. They knew what was up for grabs.
Well, I can tell you that we're honored to be a partner. Just getting involved in this is special for us. And even more, 20th anniversary, and it's Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Thanks to all our veterans.
I know how important that is to you and to the folks at Napa.
Absolutely. So congratulations to all you guys. And, I can't wait to see who wins. This has been an exciting 2 days.
Yeah, and you have been here before. How do you think the competition this year is compared?
Wow. I'd like to see the new young faces. A lot of younger guys.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. That's our future out there. And I think that they're just... it's always jittery. It's exciting. You know, your pulse gets up and you come every day. It never gets boring. I've been here 3 years and it's just been absolutely phenomenal. So I was a tech a long time ago. These guys are levels above me when I was. So just an awesome experience.
Well, we appreciate you being here and obviously appreciate the support Napa provides.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see you again next year.
Oh, yes, we will. We'll see you next year.
All right.
All right, let's check back in with the Valvoline Engine Shop.
Well, Brian, we don't have our engine completely together, but those guys finished it up pretty quick, didn't they?
We've been working on this one for the last 2 days, so my goal is before I leave, this thing will actually be assembled. Now, granted, a giant congratulations to these guys out here, every single one of them, the Auto Group guys, the Motorsports guys, every single competitor that was here today. It's such an honor and a privilege to be a part of this and be associated with this event, Roger.
They are an elite group, and we're very grateful to have them, and we're grateful for your support at Valvoline. We appreciate that, and we'd like to kind of showcase these carts that the runner-up team will get. These carts are from Napa, as Steve mentioned, and so pretty darn nice here, loaded with some tools, and man, I tell you, that's a great gift, and these guys deserve it. We appreciate what they do each and every day for us in our company, and we appreciate all of our technicians. So this one's for you.
So as we continue to let our engines, earlier we talked with Kyle Larson, the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series Championship driver, and what he said was it's all about teamwork and the team and leading that number 5 HendrickCars.com Chevrolet to victory all year long with a 10 victories for 2021, as well as the championship was crew chief Cliff Daniels, and he's standing along Jason Sehorn.
Yes, he is. So, Cliff, we were talking a little bit, just to get a precursor to your season, was the thought that I heard was you had spoken to one of his dirt crews, Kyle's dirt crews, crew chiefs, to get lingo or communication down so you knew how best to communicate with him over the radio?
Yeah, that's right. I got to know Paul Silva, who's his sprint car crew chief, pretty well. Kevin Rumley on the late model side, and really just trying to learn Kyle because he's been so dominant on the dirt the last 2 or 3 years that without practicing qualifying this year, I wanted to get to know my driver the best that I could. And what better way to do that than get to know the teams better that he's been racing for and been winning with and see what that winning formula was and try to apply it to our stuff.
You clearly found the winning formula, but one thing that has to have happen is when they speak from perspective on the track to you on the box, getting adjustments made. How crystal clear or difficult was that for you guys this year?
You know, it took us a little while to kind of get comfortable with what each other meant, his feedback in the car and things like that. But I feel like we adapted to each other pretty quick. A huge testament to our whole team for putting fast race cars out there. All the folks in this room for giving us amazing horsepower and engines all year long. So when you have fast cars, it certainly shortens the learning curve, which we had the advantage of that this year.
It's crazy to think about how many people are involved to make one car go. So these are the engine guys. That's just engines. Then you've got everybody else fabricating. Then you got your team. Talk about that team putting that pit stop together at the very end.
Oh, that was incredible. That's a moment that you live for as competitors of the sport. When you get another shot at it with a caution, we were running fourth at the time. You know, we probably weren't going to win under that circumstance of what the race was. So to have another caution, to have another shot, to come down pit road, give our guys the time to shine was pretty cool, and they knocked it out of the park.
Looking forward to 2022?
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. Let's do it again.
Nice. Thanks, Cliff.
Thanks.
You know, it's really kind of interesting when it comes to our two Hendrick Motorsports builders who are in our championship round here. Danny Emmerich was the engine tuner for Jimmy Johnson in, I believe, 4 of his titles. And on the other side, John Boydston, when Danny came off the road, John became the engine tuner for Jimmy and got Jimmy his last championship. Really interesting. And here they are in the build.
Head to head.
He got 3 and you got 4. The other way around. All right. Well,
I like that he had to correct you.
Hey, I was just going, I couldn't remember how many Danny was telling me earlier. Between the two of them, they got a whole bunch of championships with Jimmy when it comes to tuning the engines. But the guy who tuned Kyle Larson to the championship is here with us as well. Jimmy?
Thanks, Ralph. Steve Lejean, thanks for joining us. You've been coming to this build several years since you've started at Hendrick, and you talked about how special this event is, and you see such an amazing feat that especially the Hendrick Automotive Group technicians are able to come in here and use these hand tools that they're not accustomed to doing. You obviously know engines as well as anybody. Why is that such a challenge?
And it's a huge challenge. These are tools they're not used to using. And, they come in here, they have little time to study, and, they have great mentors like Danny and Johnny that, they take this very seriously. And they, practice, and they show these guys what they need to do in, 23 minutes, and it's running.
Have to congratulate you on your Cup championship. How exciting was last week in Phoenix?
It was really exciting. It was an emotional roller coaster, and we were 4th, and then we were leading, and then we were back to 4th, and man, they hit it out of the park on the last pit stop, and we were able to win.
Certainly a team atmosphere all the time here at both Hendrick Motorsports and Hendrick Automotive Group. But you were mentioning that some of the competitors in this championship build had direct impacts on this championship-winning car this past weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Danny, he assembled the race engine that we won with on Sunday, race and championship. And Johnny, he's a part in that too with the oil pumps and the water pumps and the balancers. So they both had a direct impact on how we raced on Sunday.
Steve, thanks for joining us. Again, congratulations, your 2021 Cup champion engine tuner for Kyle Larson.
Definitely a lot to be proud of. Again, we are here for the Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown presented by Valvoline. And Randy Dorton was so key to this organization. He was a competitive and innovative leader, but the thing that stands out most and the thing people talk about most is how important people were to him. He put people first. So I think this is a great tribute to his legacy.
Absolutely. He was a total genius when it comes to building racing engines. There's no doubt about that. But it's much more than that. As we talked about earlier this week, Mr. Hendrick's name is on the buildings themselves. But Randy had a lot to do with developing, shaping, and setting the standard for how the engine department would run. And he really led to a lot of how Hendrick Motorsports itself would operate. And he left an incredible legacy here at Hendrick Motorsports, as you'll see.
It's great that we get to do this in honor of Randy Dorton. I think that's what this is all about.
You know, Randy Dorton was an engineering genius. He was an innovator, and he did more than just the engines. He helped build this whole company. And no one was loved any more than Randy Dorton.
You know, he's always been considered the best.
Randy's motors have made drivers out of a lot of people.
The engine shop you see today was Randy Dorton's dream. Keeping that dream alive means a lot to these guys, means a lot to me.
Randy was a great friend and kind of like a father figure. A lot of the stuff they taught me, I'm still realizing today.
You felt like he was really mentoring you. You know, his culture still lives on here.
It's very important to us that have been here and carry on his legacy and try to feel, you know, that there's part of Randy Dorton with us every day when we come to work and when we leave.
He's looking down at us right now and he's got a big smile on his face, I guarantee you.
And it's very special for us here today to welcome our good buddy John Dorton here. Randy's son is here with us, enjoying this 20th anniversary championship build. And always great to have you with us, my friend. Good to have you here as well. A big part of this event.
Absolutely. Well, you have been with us the last 2 days. You saw 6 qualifying builds. You just saw a dramatic and awesome championship build. And now we wait.
Yeah. They have just about completed all the teardowns, and we'll have an idea who the winner is when we come back after we take this quick break to thank our partners.
Don't go away. More to come from the campus of Hendrick Motorsports and the Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown, presented by Valvoline.
Feel like there's anything wrong. Over time, things started to manifest.
I was isolating myself, startle easily, afraid to go out in crowds.
People that knew me growing up, I was one of the most social people you know. And now I'm this creepy recluse in the corner. You're not yourself. The Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund is increasing the quality of life for so many veterans.
I can't imagine where I would be if I hadn't gotten this care.
Donating is so important so that more service members get the same type of treatment that I got.
These are the happy endings, but there are many thousands of service members still struggling with TBI and psychological health conditions. Join us in the fight against the invisible wounds of war.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you. You've absolutely changed my life, the lives that you're going to continue to change. Keep doing it.
Visit fallenheroesfund.org to donate.
You don't drive a generic car. Why would you buy a generic antifreeze? Get the antifreeze made for your exact make and model. The antifreeze that better protects your cooling system. Zerex. Made for your car. Made by Valvoline.
UniFirst handles the ongoing year-in and year-out details of all that goes into uniform program management. Quick and accurate delivery, bottom line value, and unparalleled service and customer satisfaction. All designed to empower you and your employees to project the best business image possible.
The Hendrick culture is completely different than anywhere else. You feel it from the moment that, you walk into the door, and it really starts with the fact that people are first. So our teammates, the employees, that's what comes first. If our employees are taken care of, then we know that they're going to take care of the guests.
Hello everyone, this is Mo from Hendrick Toyota out from Merriam, Kansas. I've been working here for a year, and all I can tell you is a great company, got a great benefit, great pay, and the management do really care about their employees.
We help each other. We grow each other. That's what builds champion teammates. There's no team stronger than the Hendrick team.
We really stretch to run at our highest potential, individually and also together as a group. And so we're always looking for ways to become better the next day after the next day after the next day. And more importantly, we look for ways to become better together.
The income potential that our teammates have really can be endless. You know, it's up to each individual to, put forth that effort, but there is no ceiling. There's not a cap. There's not a wall that you hit that everyone says, hey, once you make this much, that's it. So our teammates throughout the company, through different positions, have the ability to earn a great living for themselves and be able to take that home to their family.
My favorite thing about working here is that they're willing to send you to training. Just really nice working for a company that is willing to invest in you.
I love the people. I started with 5 employees back in 1976, and now we have 11,000. And I don't know how it really happened, other than a lot of great people helping and building it. I mean, I feel like now I'm at the bottom of the pyramid. I believe in servant leadership. You turn the pyramid over, and I'm there to serve them, help them do what they need to do, and give people opportunities like I had.
I have felt welcome from the moment I have walked in, and I still continue to receive support from every single sales associate, which makes a big deal to me as a person, because now I am part of the family.
We are known for doing the right thing. We are known for having cars in our lot that stand tall. We are known for service departments that are committed to customer service and, making sure the customer experience is bar none. It's world class. We're not doing things for a review. We're not doing things for a survey. We're doing it because that's who we are.
At Napa, we keep things moving. If it has wheels and an engine, we help keep it on the road. And if it's on the road, we have parts for it. And if you need a part, you can get it fast. At Napa, when we're not thinking about cars, we're thinking about the people who drive them. Because when it comes to serving you and our community, our motor never quits.
The original motor oil is better than ever. Introducing new Valvoline Full Synthetic Extended Protection. The ultimate protection designed to extend the life of your engine with up to 50% better wear protection. It's proven to maximize engine life, defending against all 4 major causes of breakdown: wear, heat, friction, and deposits. Our best performing oil ever.
Hendrick.
Being on Mr. Hendrick's team is pretty great, and I'd love for you to join us.
Team Hendrick knows talent, and we're hiring. Hendrick Automotive Group is hiring 300 new technicians across the country and will pay you while they train you.
Apply now at HendrickCars.com to bring your technician skills to our dealerships.
If you're as passionate about cars and winning as I am, you should work for Team Hendrick too.
Now's your chance. Apply today at HendrickCars.com. Like right now. You gotta be fast if you want to work for Hendrick.
UniFirst handles the ongoing year-in and year-out details of all that goes into uniform program management. Quick and accurate delivery, bottom line value, and unparalleled service and customer satisfaction. All designed to empower you and your employees to project the best business image possible.
Hendrick. Hendrick.
Sometimes when you're buying a car, you're on a tight budget. You want a great deal, but you need peace of mind. The Hendrick Affordable Program provides both. You get a 182-point inspection by Hendrick certified and trained technicians, a Carfax history report, and limited powertrain warranty. Plus, you get 24-hour roadside assistance, trip interruption coverage, and car rental. Get a great deal and peace of mind from the #1 rated dealer in online reputation. Shop HendrickCars.com.
Congratulations on 20 incredible years of engine building excellence.
All right, welcome back to the 20th anniversary Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown presented by Valvoline. It has been a dramatic day. We do have the results and the winners for you, but first let's meet our awards ceremony presenters. We have Roger Mesamore, Vice President of Fixed Operations, Hendrick Automotive Group. Rick Hendrick, Chairman and CEO of Hendrick Automotive Group, owner and CEO, Hendrick Motorsports. And Jeff Andrews, Executive Vice President and General Manager, Hendrick Motorsports.
Well, here you go. You ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Okay. Let's start with team of John Boyston and Dave Fry. They had a time of 23:09 when the clock stopped. After the teardown, they did have a penalty. It was one loose bolt cover, 30-second penalty. That times them out at 23:39.86. John Boyston, Dave Fry. Nice job, guys. Okay, that means Danny Emmerich and Shane Flake. How did they do? They were in at 23:35. They had two penalties. They time out at 24:35.26. The new two-time champion, John Boyston, and his teammate Dave Fry. Congratulations, you are the 2020 Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown champions presented by Valvoline. Way to go, guys. Could it have gotten any closer after 2 days of incredible competition?
Absolutely not. So again, a big congratulations to John Boyston and Dave Fry as the 2021 Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown champions. They're going home without hardware we were just uncovering, as well as those awesome Napa toolboxes.
Full of tools.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We couldn't get into them empty.
Not empty. Oh, yeah. Yeah, over the head. You're exactly right, John. There you go.
And it was a long competition for John and his partner, because remember, they were part of the very first qualifying build yesterday morning, had to sit through all 6 of the qualifying builds to determine if they were going to go to the championship and ultimately come home the champions.
All right, they're standing over there with Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy.
Ralph, congratulations. John, Dave, fantastic build.
Did your heart sort of sink a little bit when you heard that there was a penalty and seeing that it shifted you outside of the top spot to momentarily in second place?
Yeah, it was definitely summertime sadness. We knew we had a good build, and we were really hoping everything was tight, but I knew there was a definite possibility that something was loose because we were thrashing pretty hard. But just proud of him. He did way better than I did. I was the one who left the fastener loose, so I'm proud of him. I'm glad he was my partner because without him, we wouldn't be here.
Dave, congratulations. Fantastic build. Where are you going to keep the trophy?
Well, we've got a spot vacant back at the dealership, from our last winner that decided to take his with him. So there's a spot that's been longing for one.
So next time I bring my Lexus in for service down in Independence, I can walk by and see the trophy?
If you make it down to BMW.
Oh, no! Oh, thank goodness this is my last interview. Seriously, though, congratulations. John, you're now 2 for 3 in finals. How special is this event, though?
Honestly, I really appreciate Mr. Hendrick and everybody for putting this on. All the people behind the scenes, the girls who keep us fed and keep us laughing the whole time. I don't know how to explain it. It's just amazing. It's so much fun. I hope you had a good time because that's all I did, and that's all it's about.
Well, fantastic, Bill. Congratulations. Thanks for letting us be a part of it, guys. Ralph?
Yeah. I think the way Dave played that, if he's not careful, he's going to be moving out of the service tech area and into the sales department.
Absolutely.
Because I think he just shamed Jimmy into buying a BMW.
Man, oh man, love to see it. Again, congratulations to John Boydston and Dave Fry. But they were up against a great pair of competitors, so we cannot be remiss and ignore the other team that was part of the championship build, Danny Emmerich and Shane Flake. What an effort by them with a total time of 24:35 after those 2 penalties they received during teardown.
Congratulations, guys. They're going to come over here and get their trophies, and then they got some really cool tool carts waiting over there in the Valvoline engine shop from our friends in Napa that they're going to get to take as well.
So we'll let them get their runner-up trophies and a photo op. Again, such a good effort by them. And they were part of our 6th qualifying build, so it's been a busy day for Danny and Shane as they had to qualify this morning in order to make it to the championship build and then go head-to-head with our winners, John and Dave.
Well, it has been a tremendous week. And just before we go, Mr. Hendrick, we'd like to have you. I think Roger has a microphone there for you. If we can get a quick comment from you. It's been a tremendous week. We've really enjoyed this 20th anniversary and this amazing competition. How about your thoughts?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for being here. And you do an excellent job. Let's give them a hand.
Thank you for the invite.
And we have Dave and Jim that volunteer, and they've been coming for 20 years. I think it's 20 years, correct? So give them a big hand. They volunteer and come help us. And I want to thank Valvoline. Thank you for sponsoring the event. And Napa guys here too. So Lumar and everybody that helped put this on. But the real stars are the technicians from the dealerships and the assemblers from motorsports. Thank you, guys. I'm so proud of the organization. We're having the best year in the history of our company in the automotive group. And needless to say, the championship at Motorsports and 17 wins. Was it 17 or 18 counting the All-Star race? 18. You're keeping up, aren't you? Yeah. Kyle says the All-Star race pays $1 million, so he's keeping up with that one. But again, Kyle, congratulations to you and all of them. Everybody at Motorsports had their hand on making that happen. And Greg Anderson, I think Greg, did he have to go to? Yeah, that's Greg. He's going for the championship this Sunday, so put a little pressure on him. He's just got to lead one round and he'll be good. So Greg, we're real proud of you. You represent us well, and good luck to you Sunday. Don't let us down. I see a lot of our general managers here, and I thank you guys for what you do. And my wife, Linda, this is the first time she's seen this, and she said she's going to be back every year. So she's challenged me to a bill, but I don't think I'm going to take her on. So, but thank everybody, the spouses here. Thank you for being here to support your other half. And just really, we are a big family, and this is one of the neatest things we do, to bring both companies together and compete and have fun and get to know each other. So I hope everybody has a happy holiday season, and thank you for all you do. God bless.
And we want to thank the viewers who have tuned in live on Speed51.tv. We appreciate you tuning in to the 20th anniversary Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown. If you're interested in continuing viewing the victory celebration, you can head over to HendrickEBS.com.
Yep. We have had a tremendous day over here. We got a little bit more to go, so go ahead and switch the dial, and we'll see you here in a second as we get ready for more.
Well, we want to thank Kim and Ralph and everybody over there at Hendrick's. Just a great event this afternoon, and glad that you folks have been able to enjoy it with us. The 20th anniversary Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown, and congratulations to John Boydson and Dave Fry on their victory today. Hendrick Automotive Group, they operate 93 dealerships in 13 states. Growth over the last 4 years has created more than 300 service technician job opportunities. And for more, you can go to visithendrickcareers.com for more information. Also, for more here on the Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown, you can check out racingamerica.com. It comes online tomorrow afternoon, and we hope that you can check that out. That's racingamerica.com. So for Jimmy Thompson and Jason Sehorn, as well as Kim Kuhn and Ralph Shaheen, I'm Alan Dietz saying so long, and thank you for joining us for today's Randy Dorton Hendrick Engine Builder Showdown.